Yeah, great view, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome view.
Here, let's put this over here.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you look great, man. Are you working out or what's the?
Just try to get my I always try to get my steps in every day. I try to do. My goal is 15,000. I usually get about 12 to 13 a day. So
That's great.
Oh wow,
That's great.
Yeah.
And you're in Nova right now, or okay? And there's a lot of places to walk there.
Well, I guess a lot of times I just walk around my house. Walk around.
That's called pacing.
Yeah, I don't do that. I'm on the phone the whole time. Once COVID started, I realized the sedentary nature of your life because you're stuck at home, and so I thought my house. I have a decent sized house, and so what I do is anytime I'm on the phone, anytime I have to walk. So if I'm sitting there and the phone rings, I gotta get up and I gotta walk because it helps me not do too much phone calling because I get tired by the end of the day, right? But because I tend to be on the phone a lot, and so it helps me exercise and also helps me in some ways limit my phone calls.
I love it. I love it. Spoken like a true efficient businessman. I'm really excited to chat with you. I love the presentation you just gave at ALEC today. We've always said, because Joy and I are both community organizers in Southern California, and we've been pounding the pavement about bottom up.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to do it, and this being in the DC Metro, the top down, let's have solutions from the highest level up, and that's how big government grows, right? And then that's why it's been out of control, like you said. I was shocked to hear that Coolidge was the only president that actually curtailed government a little bit.
Government got smaller, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. So tell us a little bit about practical efforts on that we as community organizers, as people out on the ground should be doing, aside from running for city council, pressuring our state assemblymen and senators. Anything else we can do?
Well, obviously the beauty of the political landscape today is there's just no shortage of areas to put your oar in the water. I mean, you mentioned running for office. Running for office doesn't have to be assembly. It could be the local municipal office. It could be school board. How important school board races are in this country. So engaging in the political fight is one way to do it. Look, engaging in your church. Getting involved, with helping people in need and through your church, helping in education. There's so many people in America today who don't know what America is, don't know who we are as a people, don't know the Lord. I mean, whatever is your passion, whatever you're concerned about, people always ask me pretty much what you do, which is what should we do? And the answer I always have is, I don't know you. But here's what I would say, do something. And do something and get in prayer and ask, what am I supposed to do? And don't be afraid. I think a lot of people think, I can't make a difference. That's what the other side wants you to believe. They want you to believe that you're one person and you can't make a difference and you just gotta leave them to decide things for you. You're starting to see grassroots movements popping up where people have said enough of that, and we are going to get involved. We're going to have our say, and that's how democracies thrive. That's how republics thrive. They die when people become despondent and they go back to their narrow little life and let the other side rule.
Absolutely, but there's an enormity of the tasks that need to be accomplished. So I guess your message is just to chip away.
Don't worry about it. I mean,
focus on.
Yeah, just do what you can do, and do more than you're doing now. Because if you're just going to keep doing what you were doing, well, obviously that ain't working because what's happening in this country isn't good right now. Yeah. Although there's some signs of life. So do more. Whatever you're doing, do more. And one of my favorite sayings, I think I say it in almost every one of my talks. I had the opportunity when I was in the United States Senate to meet Mother Teresa, and she was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal shortly 1997, shortly before she died, a few months before she died. And obviously, before I knew about her, but I obviously read up more and had a chance to sit with her in a room God doesn't call us to be successful. God calls us to be faithful. And so, and I would say the same thing with our country. Be faithful to the principles of of the Constitution and what made America great. Just be faithful and don't worry about the consequences. I believe God will bless your fidelity. God will bless that you're standing up for the truth. And don't worry about success. God's plan is better than yours. You may not succeed on the thing that's in front of you, but you know what? Something over here that's affected by what you did could be even more important than what you were trying to do. Don't worry about it.
Well said, wise words. So let's shift the focus to you. I know you've been on such an amazing journey in your life, one of the most interesting people in our country. Been a U.S. senator, been a media commentator, and now you're transitioning to a new phase in your life. What do you think God has in store for you?
You know, I got fired by CNN because of comments I made that Europeans founded this country, which I know
It's factual.
is factual, but in CNN's world, I was canceling Native Americans, and so they couldn't stand that, and that turned out again. Go back to the comment I made before. Just stand up for the truth. God will take care of it. And I've had tremendous opportunities come to me, and I've had the best year of my one of the best years of my life. I mean, it's been three of my kids got married. I have my first grandchild. I had
Congratulations, Grandpa.
I signed up for the Convention of the States, which I really believe is a transformative movement in this country. I've now signed on with Newsmax, and so I'm going to be working with Newsmax. And so I've had tremendous. I have a couple businesses I'm working with that are going to be. I'm so excited because it's an opportunity because they're in a space that is, let's just say, not a traditional Republican space you would think in the business world. And I think it can have a huge impact on the country and on the world. And the fact that a conservative Republican is the one doing it in the green space is just proves that the lie that the left says, oh, we're the only ones that care about the environment. And
are you allowed to disclose what company this is?
It's a small company. It's not even in this country. We're actually in Eastern Europe. But you'll find out about it hopefully in the next few years. And we'll go out and say, look, free economies, innovation. That's how you cure the environment. You don't do it through government regulation. I mean, look at the areas look at China. Look at India. Look at places where government regulation is the worst. And that's where you have poor economies and people don't care about the environment. They care about survival. They don't care if they burn, whatever to get heat because they're trying to survive. It's countries like ours who have prosperity that we can actually devote resources to curb the emissions and pollution.
Yeah, it's amazing because here in California, I think Rick's message here is very Californian in its core because there's a lot of Nixon, for example, was one of the first to really make and care about the environment. So I'm excited to see that innovation because, as you know, there's a lot of fallacies on the left. The left likes to say, do these electric cars, but these electric cars actually have a bigger carbon footprint.
Yeah, look at the batteries, the mining, the rare metals. I mean, it's just let innovation drive this. I mean, we were listening to the governor of Oklahoma earlier today. And Oklahoma, you say, oh, we're conservative, backwoods. Their rate of reductions of CO2 emissions is 3 times the national average. They're number one, better than California. And why? Because they switched to natural gas, and they've got wind power, because they have the ability out there.
It's very windy.
Lots of wind. And so they've been able to do it, and they did it through innovation and efficiencies, using the tools. So no, I don't know of any Republican, any conservative who doesn't want a cleaner environment. Absolutely. Who doesn't want a healthier planet? We all do.
We're the most conserving of energy. I'm always turning off the lights. I'm always, I'll make sure no water's leaking.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, we're the ones having children, and we're the ones who want their children to live in a healthy world. They're not. They just want power. We want want natural improvement.
So one thing that struck me, Rick, is your ability to, in your years in CNN, to talk to liberals and talk to our greater population. So Joy and I, with our community organizing, we are always less concerned with talking and preaching to the choir and going to people like Democrats and converting them. And one thing I noticed, especially with your overwhelming Senate victories in your 2 terms, you, Pennsylvania was a very blue state at the time, and you were able to convince those who are not true believers. Do you have any advice for activists in the conservative space?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned over the years is, particularly if you're a conservative today, I don't think that was necessarily the case when I first ran, but I think the country's changed a lot since I first ran for Congress 31 years ago. And I would say the biggest thing is how you say things matters more. I hate to say this, but it matters more than what you say. People are much more sensitive to tone than they are to substance. And if you don't, and that's why my wife, when I was running for president, she had this mantra: happy warrior, happy warrior. Smile. Every time I'm on TV, she said she'd smile. And particularly when you're talking to people who disagree with you, it's hard to take advice from someone that says, boom, right? I mean, they don't, whoa, wait a minute. You can't punch people in the mouth and tell them they're idiots and say, and criticize them and say, they don't know what they're doing. You have to say, look, I understand why people believe what they believe. The information you're given is I think, not the whole picture. And then you go out and you lay out, an alternative in a way that's rational and reasonable. Again, I'm not saying that necessarily you're going to convince people, but one of the things I heard over and over and over again from people who watch CNN is, I don't agree with you, and I didn't like you, but you said things and you just very calmly laid it out, and you made me think. That's what you need, because there's not a lot of thinking going on in America. Everybody's in their own camp, and whatever my side said is right, whatever their side says is wrong, and no one's really thinking about it. And so treat people with respect and give them the information.
Wise sage advice. Now, Pennsylvania, your home state, your previous home state, now you're in Virginia, but I know you're still very connected. It's been a fascinating state as it's moved to the right. And in fact, 2016, we actually outright won the state, or Trump did. Now, what are your thoughts about the changing demographics and maybe a blue-collar resurgence of Reagan Democrats?
Yeah, Reagan won the state twice, and that was really the last person that won. I guess Bush won it in '88. I'm sorry, Bush won it in '88, and he was the last one to win until Trump. And if you look at it, they weren't huge margins. George W. Bush lost by, I think, 4 points and 2 points. So they were close races. But again, Pennsylvania's wasn't completely, I hate to say it's almost the cities have stayed the same. In fact, maybe even become more democratic. What's changed is suburban voters and what I would call, as you mentioned, sort of blue-collar workers, and ethnics, old ethnics, not the new ethnics. Pennsylvania is not a state that has a lot of immigration, and so we still have, below the national average in Hispanics and African American population in Pennsylvania. And so the shift has really been among white suburbanites in Philadelphia and to some degree Pittsburgh, near the metropolitan areas, and then sort of blue-collar workers throughout the state, and who were solidly union Democrats in many cases, or new people in the union houses. And what I did when I was in the Senate is I made an effort to really transform our party into more of a blue-collar conservative party, because on a values level, those people agree with us. They're very pro-American. They love our affiliation purposes, not for ideological reasons. And we couldn't cut through with them until, thankfully, the Democratic Party, in some respects, just went crazy. It went so far to the left that it was obvious. You could start to run and say, these people are not your grandfather's Democratic Party. And so we just sort of made the case. We spent time, and counties in Western Pennsylvania that when I first ran, the 2 times I ran, as far back as 2006, I never got more than 30% of the vote there. If I was running today, I'd get 70%.
Wow.
And it's just a huge flip. And counties that I got 60% of the vote in suburban Philadelphia, I'd get 35% of the vote today. So they're bigger counties, and the suburban counties are bigger, but the other counties, there are more of them. If you're a Democrat in Pennsylvania, there's 67 counties. You usually win about 6.
Wow.
And you can still win the state, even though you only win 6 counties, because that's where all the people are.
So lots of demographic changes.
Yeah.
And we have to wrap up soon, but I really wanted to ask you about your thoughts on the recent abortion Supreme Court decisions, or court decisions going up.
Yeah, the first thing I would say is to all of your listeners, elections matter. People say all the time, it doesn't matter who you vote for, they're both corrupt, they're both this, they're both that. There's not a dime's difference between the two. Yeah, when they get in office, they don't do what they say they're gonna do. Yeah, that's not true. I mean, it's true to some degree, and it's always true to some degree. You don't get everything that the person promises. But pro-lifers who have battled forever to elect presidents and senators in particular need to look and say, it was worth it. You can make a difference. We now have 6 Supreme Court justices, and those Supreme Court justices are going to look at the worst, one of the worst, maybe not the worst, one of the worst, one of the top 3 or 4 worst decisions the Supreme Court has ever made. Egregiously, unconstitutionally founded case, Roe versus Wade, and Casey versus Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and they're going to overturn it because it should be. And I think that is a victory for. Think about this: every institution in our country for 50 years has been telling young people that abortion is a good, that abortion is right, that abortion is a gift.
And look how it destroyed our society.
And it's fractured us, but yet still half the country or more reject all of that. That is a remarkable thing. Think about that. How remarkable it is that every source of Hollywood, the news media, higher education, primary and secondary education, even the church. Most of the churches now, are not pro-life. Yet Americans know a lie is a lie, and they know that baby is a human being, and as a result, they didn't back down. They didn't give up. They kept fighting, and now we're going to see this victory. And I'm super excited about how that hopefully not only will transform this issue, one that's going to be right in the public square where people can actually debate and decide what our policy should be, which is the way it should be. But it's going to hopefully restore a lot of faith among the American public that this process still works.
Goodness prevails in darkness. And
I like it.
thank you so much, Rick, for your time. And also, to end this real quick, your favorite sweater vest, and how many do you own?
I had different colors, but my blue is my favorite, and we had them made in Bemidji, Minnesota. When I started wearing the sweater vest, it's a long story, I won't tell it. And during the campaign, it became my moniker. A couple of my staffers went out and bought a bunch of sweater vests for me because I didn't have a bunch of them. And I looked at them and I said, made in the Philippines. And I said, I can't wear sweater vests. I'm running on a pro-manufacturing, pro-American, make it here kind of platform. And so I said, you guys got to go out. And people were calling, can we get a sweater vest? And I said, we got to find a domestic manufacturer with U.S. wool. So U.S. content wool and made here in America. We found one. A woolen mill in Bemidji, Minnesota. And it was a 92-year-old mill at the time. And by the end of the campaign, they told us we were the largest customer in their 92-year history. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Rick, again. And let's take a quick picture.
Okay.
And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Do you want to move the,
Oh, yeah.
and then take your tag off?
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3. Love it.
All right,
Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
folks.
Again, please give Liz my best.